A government affidavit in the Delhi High Court on the Twitter case. The new IT rules are the law of the land, and Twitter is mandatorily required to comply, is what the centre has told the court. Non-compliance has led to Twitter losing its immunity. The centre has specified this. They've also said that Twitter is an intermediary as defined under the IT Act. Despite the 3 months of time granted, Twitter failed to comply with the new laws. Arvind Gunasekara joins us now for more on this. Arvind, what was the context of this latest hearing in court on Twitter?
Vishnu, the Twitter versus government has finally entered the constitutional court. This particular matter, it was filed by a private user saying that he had filed complaint with the Twitter against few tweets, but Twitter did not act promptly on his complaint, and that's why he had filed a petition at the Delhi High Court asking for the High Court to issue directions to Twitter. While issuing notice to Twitter, the Delhi High Court also issued a notice to Centre also, and yesterday on Saturday, Twitter filed a response to this particular petition saying that the writ petition is not maintainable, and they also said that they are in the process of finalizing the appointment of Chief Compliance Officer, Residence Grievance Officer, and also the nodal contact person. But today, Centre has filed its affidavit based on the notice that was issued by the Delhi High Court. Responding to the notice, the Centre has said that the new IT rules are the law of the land, and Twitter, it's mandatory on the part of Twitter to comply with it. Despite giving 3 months time to Twitter, Twitter has not yet fully complied with the new IT rules, and that's why Twitter has lost the immunity that has been granted under Section 79 of the IT Act. In fact, the Centre has also detailed what are the instances on what instances Twitter has not yet complied with the new IT rules. In fact, while arguing, saying that Chief Compliance Officer has not been appointed yet, the Resident Grievance Officer has not been appointed yet, and the nodal contact person has also not been appointed yet. Earlier, that Twitter informed the Centre government according to Centre that they had appointed two interim Resident Grievance Officer and also the interim nodal officer, but even those two interim officers have also resigned, and as on date, Twitter does not have any of these three important officers, and that's why Twitter is not complying with the new IT rules, and that's why Twitter has lost the immunity under Section 79 of the IT Act, and the central government has left it to the court to issue appropriate orders and directions as deemed fit by the court in this particular matter. But the Centre has made it very clear that Twitter has lost its immunity and Twitter is not complying with the new IT rules.